Hello, welcome to the Southern Bible Thumper channel. For this upload, we are reading 2 Samuel chapter 11. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass, in an evening tide, that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. And the woman conceived, and sent and told David, and said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, Send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. And when it's probably Uriah, a weird pronunciation, Uriah, that sounds like a name. Okay, verse 7. And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Camest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house? And Uriah said unto David, The ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and drink, and to lie with my wife? As thou livest, and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. And David said to Uriah, Tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David called him, he did eat and drink before him, and made him drunk. And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab, and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote in the letter, saying, Set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. And it came to pass, when Joab observed the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that valiant men were. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messenger, saying, When thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king, and if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, Wherefore approached ye so nigh unto the city when ye did fight? Knew ye not that they would shoot him from the wall? Who smote Abimelech the son of Jerubbaal? Did not a woman cast a piece of a millstone upon him from that wall, that he died in Thebez? Why went ye nigh the wall? Then say thou, Thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. So the messenger went and came and shewed David all that Joab had sent him for. And the messenger said unto David, Surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field, and we were upon them even unto the entering of the gate. And the shooter shot from off the wall upon thy servants, and some of the king's servants be dead, and thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Then David said unto the messenger, Thus shalt thou say unto Joab, Let not this thing displease thee, for the Lord devoureth one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. In the previous chapter, 2 Samuel 10, King Nahash, the Ammonite king, died. David sends messengers to express condolence. The Ammonite people humiliate the messengers, which kickstarts a war. The Ammonites hire help and are unsuccessful. Israel subjugates the Ammonites. In this current chapter, 2 Samuel 11, David notices Bathsheba bathing and finds out she is the wife of a loyal soldier, Uriah. David impregnates Bathsheba. He tries to make special arrangements to encourage Uriah to sleep with his wife, but he does not. Desperate for a private solution, David arranges a situation that he knew Uriah's death would be inevitable. Okay, summarizing 2 Samuel 11, verses 1 through 5, there's a time of year when kings are more likely to go to war. When we look at the other translations, it says springtime is a popular time for kings to go to war. That seems to make sense because if it's too cold or too hot, those elements would impact the conditions of the soldiers who are going to have to be outside. David sent Joab, his army commander, with the Israelites to once again fight the inbred population of the children of Ammon. So we saw that in Genesis 19, the children of Ammon, or the Ammonites, are the product of Lot and one of his daughters. And so that too keeps being a pest to the Israelites, but they defeat this opposition in this chapter. David, as he's staying behind at his home, he notices a woman taking a bath. She's beautiful. Her name is Bathsheba, and she's the wife of one of David's loyal soldiers, Uriah. David sends messengers and took her and had sex with her, and she ended up getting pregnant. So, right now, I just want to put a pin in this and just look at another piece of information. So, in Genesis 37, we know that Jacob/Israel has 12 sons. He was tricked into marrying 4 women when he only wanted to marry Rachel. The children that he had from Rachel, he treated better: Benjamin and Joseph. Joseph was the one that he made the coat of many colors. He was the older of Rachel's sons. In this situation, Jacob/Israel sends Joseph to tell some information to his brothers or find them. He tells them to go meet his brothers where they're at. The brothers, who were jealous of him because of the way his father treated him. Also, in this chapter, he had a couple of prophecies or visions or dreams where he saw his brothers bowing down to him. So, in this chapter, he's still a minor. He's like 17. So, he tells these dreams to his family, and they are a little bit angry because he's already the favorite. He's already getting this special coat. He gets all this special attention. And also he treats his mother, Jacob/Israel treats Jacob's sorry, treats Joseph's mother with more respect. When Leah died, we don't even know when she died. It's not even mentioned in the Bible. And she has the most children for Jacob/Israel. The point is, when we get to this chapter, Judah is the one who says, let's sell him into slavery instead of killing him. Joseph's brothers want to kill him. Judah says, no, don't kill him. Let's just sell him into slavery. So they did, for 20 pieces of silver. To the Ishmaelites, who are Abraham's first son with Hagar. The reason why I just wanted to illustrate who Judah is because his son does something in Genesis 38 that it's a piece of information that we know about, okay? So what happens in 38? Judah has 3 sons with a Canaanite woman. His first son, dies. Doesn't explain to us anything about why he died, just says he was wicked. Tamar was the woman that married. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about Tamar and that name because David has a daughter named Tamar, and we're going to see what happens to her in 2 Samuel 13. But dies. He's married to this woman, and in this culture, when a widow's husband has brothers, the next brother that's the next oldest is supposed to marry her and produce children to continue the lineage. That's just the tradition, the way it was during that time. So the next brother in line, that was Judah's son, was Onan. So he was supposed to have sex with her, get her pregnant. Onan knew that the seed would not be his, meaning that if he had a child with Tamar, the child would not be considered his own child. The child would be considered continuing the legacy of his dead brother. Onan did not want to do that, so he did what's called spilling his seed onto the ground, also known as pulling out. Okay? So it says this is the thing which he did displease the Lord, which he was also killed. Um, I've seen this verse misinterpreted as God not this is a verse that is like referenced as this is why not homosexual masturbation is something people should not be indulging in. But when we look at the other, you know, prohibited actions in Leviticus 18, masturbation doesn't occur there. And I also think that it's Leviticus 16, where the only requirements are if there's an emission of semen, you are unclean until the evening. That's it. You're unclean till the evening. Don't come into church if you release semen that day. And so releasing semen can be through a wet dream, through masturbation, or through sex itself. And the Bible also talks about if someone has sex. So um seems to me that the Bible does cover if there's an emission of semen. And of course, hardly any of those laws specifically apply to women. So just saying how I perceive this, what Onan did, he agreed to he agreed to a tradition, and he purposefully is not holding up his end of the agreement. He's doing something on purpose. In my opinion, that's why this was a nefarious thing to do, not simply because he spilled a seed on the ground. What I'm trying to just portray here with all of what I just said, the information that not getting someone pregnant, how to avoid pregnancy, was already something that is knowledge. It's here in Genesis. So when we get here and we look at David, he already has a bunch of wives, a bunch of baby mamas. He already has enough women. He gets this one woman. He knows that she's married. He knows that the man that she's married to is his employee. He's a loyal man. And he impregnates her with the knowledge, knowing that there is something you could have done to avoid that. Maybe he didn't know, but knowledge like that, when we look at Jacob/Israel, when he was married to Leah and Rachel, they were two sisters. There was a part where Leah had mandrakes, and mandrakes are a special herb that are supposed to aid in fertility. Rachel wanted some of those plants because she wasn't able to, or she was not conceiving at the rate that her sister Leah was conceiving. So that's another piece of information that would contribute to sexual health or pregnancy. So if that information is there, this information is there. So David, as a king with all these women, knows that there's a way to prevent pregnancy and he just doesn't. Just it seems like just a total a-hole move just because he can. And he's been perfect until this point. Okay, I just want to point that out. So we get verses 6 to 13. David finds Uriah. He tries to send Uriah home to his wife, hoping that he would end up having sex with her, because if he has sex with her, it's going to look like she got pregnant from having sex with her husband. Now David's in the clear because they don't have DNA testing. Okay. Uriah would not go home though. He slept at the door of the king's house. David gave Uriah a gift, trying to get him to go home to his wife. Like he was trying to get him to go home to his wife so he would sleep with her. He looked at her and he said, I know for a fact if he goes home to her, he's going to sleep with her. Okay. And he's not going to do it, no, Nan. So we get to verse 10. David finds out that he didn't go home and he said, why not? And Uriah has the sweetest, most syrupy saccharin. Oh, I love that word saccharin. Just so sugary sweet, like saccharin. So sweet, it's almost nauseating. That used to be a personality trait that I thought would help me make friends and avoid being socially awkward. It didn't help. It didn't help. But saccharine was the word that I remember. Okay. Uriah then says, "No, I didn't go home. The ark, Israel, they abide in tents, and my lord Joab and all of Joab's servants, they are out there in the wilderness, encamped in the open fields. Why should I get to come home and drink and eat?" Nauseating. Absolutely nauseating. So David says, "All right, well, then stay here." Uriah stays there that day and the next. David got him drunk, and still he did not go home. So then David has to take more extreme measures from verses 14 and 26. He gives instruction to his army commander, Joab, to place Uriah on the front line, then allow him to be killed. In verse 17, Uriah was killed. Joab sent a messenger to tell David the news. And in verse 21, King Abimelech is referenced. So when we get here to verse 21, Joab is still talking. Joab gives a messenger a message to communicate to David. And in my interpretation, it seems like the only people that are aware that Uriah was supposed to die is Joab and David. So the messenger is innocent. The messenger just knows, you know, Uriah died. If the king's anger flares up and asks you, "Why'd you get so close?" So, in my opinion, looking at this, it just seems like he wants to preemptively, if David wants to seem like he's got an attitude for some reason, because he wrote in verse 14, David wrote a letter to Joab telling him intentionally, put Uriah in the hottest part of the battle, that he may be killed and die. He says it specifically. I want this to happen. Put him in a situation where he'll die. So when Joab is now telling this messenger to relay information back to David, he's like covering his bases by saying, okay, so if David seems to get offended, like, why did you get too close to this battle? Just tell him Uriah is dead. Like, awful. And then the reason why I'm bringing up 21, right, is because Joab begins talking in verse 18. He's still talking until verse 21, but he's talking about who smote Abimelech, the son of Jerubasheth. Jerubasheth is Gideon. It's like another name of Gideon. It's just, it can get a bit confusing because Jerubbaal was the name given to Gideon in the chapter, but okay. Just to streamline the information, Abimelech, you see here, Jerubbaal, that's a nickname that Gideon was given, even though we see here Jerubasheth. Sometimes things get lost in communication. There's several reasons why that could have happened. Okay. But the point is, Abimelech is the first king of Israel who manipulated his way into that position. When we get down here to verse 53, there's a woman that threw a stone on Abimelech's head, and it injured him so badly that he wanted one of his men to stab him so that he wouldn't have to live with the fact that a woman fatally injured him and killed him. So he's like, hurry up and stab me so I'll die from that instead of this woman who injured me. Okay, so that's what he's referencing in 21. And so, in my opinion, this seems like it seems like Joab is communicating information in a way to sort of conceal not conceal that David wanted this to happen. He's introducing some other information that really isn't that relevant, by talking about why would you get this close to a wall, bringing up Abimelech, which the book of Judges happened so long ago. I mean, why would you bring this up for the messenger? No offense, but messengers are not highly regarded, which is why we never know what their names are. They're just like errand boys. So there's really no one's going to get that upset if a messenger is doing something dangerous. So for Joab to add all of this fluff to basically telling David, look, Uriah's dead, it's to, in my opinion, in my interpretation, to conceal what David actually intended. David told Joab, so David communicates back to Joab, oh, well, we'll just fight harder tomorrow. Bathsheba, Uriah's wife, hears her husband was dead. She mourned for him, and when the mourning period was done, David sent messengers to fetch her and bring her to his house to wife. But the thing that David done displeased the Lord. I understand that some men, in particular ones that are lonely, might look at Bathsheba's actions and, you know, call her a modern woman or a Jezebel, which again, you're going to have to determine from the Bible what a Jezebel spirit is, but you're not going to do that. The point is, when a king summons something, you had to do it. You didn't really have a choice. That's what we just saw with David and Michal. Michal is David's first wife. Before David became king and Israel gave him the title of being a king, his father-in-law, King Saul, gave Michal away to another man. When David became king, he told her, "Come to me now." And she had to. She was married to another man. The man had no choice but to let her go. That was the dynamic during that time. The king told you to do something, you did it. That might be why in 1 Samuel 8, God told Israel that you wanting a king, you wanting to have leadership like the people around you, that you're rejecting me by wanting to be like the people around you with this king leadership. Personally, I don't believe people are supposed to have that type of power. And we're going to see it get worse and worse and worse because we already have a nation where people can have slavery. So having a king and then having slavery being a system that people keep introducing, it's going to get worse. I believe it's going to get worse. But just want to point that out. This is what we have for 2 Samuel 11. Thank you for clicking on the video. I love you. Have a wonderful day.